Go onto our YouTube channels. All right, I think we're live.
Awesome.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's Monday, July 17th, 3 o'clock Pacific here on the West Coast. We've got less than 24 hours before Inspire starts. I'm really excited. My name is Matt Sosa, and I'm CTO of the Partner Masters, and I have CEO Justin Slagle here with me. Hey, Justin.
Hey. My favorite week of the year, Matt.
Yeah, I know. This is awesome. Yeah, I know what a lot of people are going to be thinking right now. You know, why are we not in Vegas? I'm kind of happy we're not in Vegas. It's really hot there. But hey, we're going to make the best of it, right? Hopefully, at some point, we can go back to Vegas, go back to in person, and we can even talk about that a little bit here. But we have lots going on, and today was the Modern Work pre-day. I don't know if anybody out there had a chance to watch it. Justin and I were watching it. We were eyeing each other all morning, just all the amazing news and announcements and all the interesting things we're learning about there. And I'm sure we're going to learn even more tomorrow.
But you know what was really cool, Matt? I mean, having our company now and being able to divide and conquer even paid off this morning, because even with the Modern Work pre-day, I was doing the CSP session and you were doing the more of the SMC and enterprise, which, man, it was like, as we were IMing each other, it was like, man, it's like two completely different sessions going on at the same time here. There was gold nuggets delivered in both. What was your favorite thing that you learned this morning?
Yeah, it was awesome. Well, I think before I go there, just for anybody watching, yeah, the point you just brought up, Justin, divide and conquer. I mean, we just kind of learned that with our little company here, but for anybody else watching, if you have multiple folks at your company watching Inspire this week, try to go divide and conquer, just like we did. So today was 2 tracks for the Modern Work pre-day. There was the CSP track and then the SMC and Enterprise track. Myself and 2 of our other employees, we took SMC and Enterprise. Everybody else took CSP. And we had a group chat open in Teams, and all day we were just pinging each other, sharing everything that we've been learning from both tracks. I think for me that one of the biggest takeaways, and we could talk about it, is the new MCI pilots. A lot of people are questioning about, hey, is this going to be available for managed partners or not? And it sounds like Microsoft may make it available to all partners. We'll see what happens. As with anything Microsoft, things change at any time, all the time. But for me, that was a big takeaway. And then there's just a ton of stuff around Copilot, security. There's some things I heard about the new incentive programs that are going to be rolling out in October and how they're moving away from milestones and monthly usage. It was just awesome. What about on the CSP track? Anything significant for you?
Well, I think my favorite thing was they released a new cybersecurity assessment tool.
Oh, yeah.
And so we'll put a link out there for you. But yeah, now they actually have this documentation, and there's like 5 different documents to kind of walk you along the path of, hey, here's how you should go do it, because they're now saying a 1 out of 4 SMB clients was affected by a cybersecurity incident last year, ransomware, $108,000 per incident. So security is going to be massive. I mean, and we'll kind of jump into it a little bit later, but yeah, security and AI, probably 2 big topics, but security, $20 billion coming up from Microsoft. But putting that cybersecurity assessment, that's something you and I've talked about for a long time. Yeah. Why hasn't Microsoft made like an easy button for partners to go out and do something like this? Well, now they've given you the tools. Now they've given you something you can go to market with.
Right. Yeah, this is pretty awesome. I was just kind of looking at it here as you were talking. I even know the guy at Microsoft that created this, and I know this is something that he's been wanting to do for a long time. So it's cool if they finally were able to launch this. But a huge opportunity for partners. I don't know if you can rewatch the pre-day or not. I'm sure you probably could. I'm sure it's recorded. So if you didn't get a chance to watch it, definitely go through it. There was a lot of talk around Windows 365. That was another big takeaway for me, was just the partner opportunity with Windows 365, the new pilot program and some of the incentives around that, some of the new OSU incentives that are going to be coming out for Windows 365. That was pretty awesome. You were even pinging me a little bit about Teams, and it sounded like there was a new Teams voice offer for SMB.
Yeah, new offer for both Windows 365 and for Teams Voice. Both of them, they have like a 20% discount for the Teams Voice, and then Windows 365, they're giving 20% off. But yeah, Windows 365, I actually wasn't expecting either of those in the pre-day. So they both kind of caught me off guard. I knew that there's massive opportunities, right? But I didn't know that Microsoft was going to be releasing some of these new things. But yeah, Windows 365, that's one of the things you and I talked about in the very beginning when we started the Partner Masters was, hey, if we were to work with customers, which we don't have plans to, but we were trying to think through, if we were working with customers, what would we do? Number one was obviously security because of your background. And then number two was Windows 365. So really great to see that Microsoft is, right in that same vein of thought as we were, that, hey, there really is a ton here. Now, the other thing that I really liked was we've had so many questions from our partners when we talked to them about Windows 365. What about AVD? Like, where does that fit? And now there's actually documentation that Microsoft has, because there's a case for both. So in some cases, maybe Windows 365 works, some cases AVD, and in some cases Citrix, right? So then that's the other part of the conversation is when is Citrix appropriate to bring up to the customer? So those things were all really great to hear.
It was awesome. It was awesome. And just maybe for everybody's awareness too, when we started our company, all we ran on was Windows 365 for a few months. And we even still have some employees that do. So, and when you think about it from a security perspective, just it makes sense. Well, let's talk about Inspire a little bit. I'm really excited. I get excited this time every year. Well, actually I get excited 2 times, usually Inspire with all the partner announcements and programs, and then around Ignite with all the new Microsoft products and services that get released. It used to be when we would go in person, you would spend most of your time in the expo hall, networking with people, partners, people at Microsoft, just attendees. You'd kind of go to sessions, but a lot of your time was spent networking, go to dinners, go to lunches, trying to get to know people. Now, since it's been virtual, they've got some virtual networking, which I do recommend people take advantage of, but now it's mostly around content. Justin, what's your strategy this year? How are you looking at Inspire for the sessions you attend?
Well, I mean, look, so I think my first Inspire was 2008. So this puts me at my 15th. But to your exact point, like I would spend so much time in the expo hall. I'd spend so much time in one-on-one meetings. Every now and then I would go to a session, and then I would always think, man, I got to go to more sessions. So what's great about being virtual is that it is all about the session. So for me, I am very, very curious to hear more about, I mean, the big 3 that I think we're going to hear about are security, AI, and marketplace. And so I really want to hear more about that. They did touch a ton this morning in the Modern Work pre-day about Copilot, but there's so much more to AI than just Copilot, and even security. Like there's the security Copilot, but those are the big ones that I'm really interested in, where I think most of the tracks that I've gone through my sessions on are hitting those 3.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I always look at it, when you look at the first day, the first few hours are always most important. So you got the keynotes, get to hear from Satya, what's the overall vision. Then you get to hear from Judson, okay, what are we doing with the field? How are we going to market? Then you start hearing from some of the product owners and some of the different CVPs. And then usually the sessions right after the keynote are the big ones where they make any announcements and they talk through, news of the day for those different programs. So I signed up for a lot, probably more than I could watch, but maybe a couple best practices here that I've been wanting to share, kind of preparing for this webinar. One for everybody to think about, and this is something that Justin and I have been doing for years, even back when we worked at Microsoft, is when you watch these sessions and you see who's presenting, go look them up on LinkedIn, add them to your network, and it's not too difficult to guess somebody's email address at Microsoft. Now you've got a friend at Microsoft, go reach out to them. So if you watch a session on, the new security assessments for SMB partners, or you watch a session on Windows 365, or you watch a session on XYZ, reach out to that presenter. There's chances that, high probability, that they actually own the program, and that's why they're presenting, or they know somebody that they could introduce you to. But hey, that's one of the reasons why they're there. And when I worked at Microsoft, I used to present all the time at Ignite, Inspire, and all these different conferences. I used to love when people to reach out, because it tells me that they're paying attention, they're watching my stuff. But when they have questions like that, those people in engineering and the business groups, they love that. So definitely write down those names and don't be afraid to reach out to me, even if you just want the PowerPoint presentation, right? So good best practice there.
Yeah, the other thing, and Matt, when you and I were just finishing up our careers at Microsoft, everything was around do more with less. And specifically around customers and how customers are taking advantage of it. but I think we're probably going to see even more in a double down into, hey, how do you help customers understand what they own? That's part of what we see with our clients, our partners every day is, they don't understand even what their customers are leveraging. And so then when we show them, hey, here's how you can get all this tenant insights. Now, here are the things that you can take forward with your customers. I think we're going to see Microsoft double down on that. You talked earlier about like they did hint at earlier today that Microsoft's going to move away from that 15% and 40% payouts for Microsoft 365 usage. And now they're going to move to they even said 10x in a CSP track. They're going to do 10x the investments into partners, but have more of a continual motion and double down on just a maybe less of the different workloads. I think right now there's about 15 different workloads, but there are even fewer workloads, but higher payouts. So do more with less, I think, is going to be a big theme again.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to continue to see a lot of it, especially in, the macroeconomic situation. Microsoft really wants customers to understand that, there is such a thing as saving money in the IT world. And, when you think about Microsoft 365, even at the smallest SKU, at the business standard SKU, there's a lot of value that customers get. And so it's really kind of up to the partner to figure that out with their client and help them understand the best value, and then how the partner's own services can help drive that value.
Yep.
I'm looking at my backpack here. I've always gone through and I've added sessions up for each time slot for the whole week. And, Justin, I'm curious what your best practice is. One of my personal best practices, it's ever since we had in-person events, you go to a session, you might walk in and if you're digging it and you're feeling it, great, you're going to stick around. If you're not feeling it, you'd probably walk out of the session, move on to the next one. And so that's just kind of a practice I've always kept. So I've always loaded up my backpack to have multiple sessions in that time slot. So if there's one that maybe I'm just not feeling, I'll leave and I'll go on to another one, but also I can go back later and watch it because these are available up to 90 days, right? So that's kind of, I've always, yeah.
That's the best part. I mean, that is especially like, even if you can't attend everything, just make sure you register, right? And that's something that we're trying to spread the message on. At least go register for Inspire so you can go back. I mean, because we'll do another one of these where we, we'll recap what we learned, what our team learned at Inspire. We'll come back and share everything with everyone. But if we say, hey, here was a fantastic session, that 10 steps on mastering Microsoft Partner Center was incredible, you guys should go watch it. At least you guys can go back and watch it as long as you register.
Yeah. Now it is available for 90 days, right? So after 90 days, it's probably not going to be available anymore. I know in the past I've been guilty. I told myself I'd watch these sessions and I never got around to it, and I lost access. But this year I'm going to try to do a better job. But yeah, there's a ton of stuff. It's mostly security and Copilot. But I've tried to load up on just about everything I could think of. There's some really good, interesting sessions around Marketplace that I'm looking forward to. Probably expecting some announcements there. Did you find anything else interesting as you loaded up your backpack?
Let me go look through my backpack. I was even thinking about some of this other stuff. I'll go look at my backpack. But Matt, some of the stuff we even heard about today and some of the things that I know that I have in my backpack is around specializations.
Yeah.
So what did you hear about this morning, and what are you expecting to hear about specializations?
Yeah, so just so everybody knows, there's been a couple announcements so far. So last week, they announced some new Azure specializations. And while we're talking here, I'll find the blog post and I'll put in the chat window. But then this morning at the Modern Work pre-day event, they probably mentioned specializations in every session multiple times. And so just for all the partners watching, Microsoft is going to be doubling, maybe even tripling down on specializations this year is what it sounds like. That is going to be the differentiator. That is who they're betting on, are those partners that have specializations for many reasons. One, it helps you qualify for the funding program. So whether it's Azure Migration Modernization Program, AMP, you need a specialization. Whether it's new MCI pilots that are now transitioning away from workshops to pilots, you need a specialization for those. And also just differentiation with the field and with the engineering teams, the marketing teams. They're really pushing specializations. And, when you think about how many partners are out there in the world, 500,000 partners worldwide, the number that actually have a specialization in that given area, it's going to be pretty small. And so you're going to be sticking out like a sore thumb to Microsoft when you have a specialization. But it was great to see at the Modern Work pre-day event this morning how much talk there was on specializations. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, and don't feel like these things are too hard to achieve. I think we see that a lot where partners say, "Oh, I could never achieve that." Well, I think in a lot of cases it's just there's some misdirection where partners feel like, "Oh, I need to have too many people certified," or those numbers are just off the charts. There's something that maybe you're just not doing all your CPOR claims. Maybe there's other things you could be doing to achieve more to help qualify you for some of the specializations or the audits, right? So Matt, I know you and your team, you deal with a lot of partners who are preparing for audits, but they don't have to be as hard as some partners make them. So specializations, yeah, but the idea of the specialization is to really separate yourself, right? So if a partner really wants to be considered for working with enterprise customers, you have to have a repeatable process. Microsoft has to be able to know that you have that repeatable process that they can recommend to a customer.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you have this Azure specialization, you've met all the performance criteria, customer growth criteria, skilling criteria. That's a huge accomplishment of itself. And then when you go for the audit and you pass the audit, because that's an 8-hour audit, you really stick out. I mean, that's a huge achievement. So we'll talk more about, we'll probably do another LinkedIn Live event on specializations at some point. Hey, Mike Stern posted here in the chat, do you have any recommendations on Inspire sessions and must watch? Yes. So I just posted in the chat window Microsoft's kind of top 10 here of the top Inspire sessions. And so when you look at that website, it's a blog that they posted last week. There's some really good sessions in here. There's one on the Cloud Partner Program. So as you know, old MPN, Microsoft Partner Network, that transitioned. The new program, the new name is Microsoft Cloud Partner Program. So it looks like they have a session on that and kind of the roadmap in future. They have another one that's great, getting started with Microsoft Cloud Partner Program. That's going to look pretty good. Differentiate your services, fuel ISV growth. Then there's this 10-step masterclass on Partner Center. That looks amazing. Hint, hint. And then there's some on Marketplace, the power of working together through Marketplace, the Marketplace roadmap, land enterprise deals through co-sell in the Marketplace. So it sounds like Microsoft's been on the Marketplace, but check out that link. There's some really good sessions in there. Mike, as far as additional sessions to recommend, I'm just kind of going through my backpack here. Like I mentioned before, keynotes are always great, and usually the sessions right after the keynote are usually, at least in my experience, have been the most important ones. But there's a lot on Viva. Here at the Partner Masters, we're betting big on Viva because Viva is really the foundation to Copilot. So we're betting on that. And so we're going to go watch some of those sessions. Obviously, security is a big one with us as well. There's quite a few security sessions. Just kind of looking through my backpack here, there's some really interesting ones around security and AI. So, Mike and others that are watching, I'll just put in the chat window here, go look up Vasu Jakal. She's the corporate VP of security for the marketing team at Microsoft. And so she has a session on integrating AI with security. That sounds pretty good. So I was just looking at my backpack. That looks pretty good. Justin, anything from your side? Have you been?
Yeah, I was just looking through it, and it reminded me again this morning that SMB seems like it's back.
Yeah, that's right.
I feel like Microsoft kind of put a pause on SMB, but it was still growing significantly. And now there's several sessions on SMB, and they talked about SMB a lot this morning. I know there's some people at the Global Partner Solutions team who are going to be dedicated to SMB for this upcoming fiscal year. So I feel like SMB, there's going to be more investments. There's going to be a lot more to do there. So look for some of the sessions on that. And then also Microsoft Americas. So if you guys aren't aware, Microsoft's making a big pivot to where it's not just Microsoft US anymore, but Microsoft Americas with Canada and LATAM. So I know Nina Harding and her team are going to talk about what Microsoft Americas is and how Microsoft's going to market with partners and with customers as Americas instead of just US.
In fact, that's probably a good session. I mean, for everybody watching, I would say that's probably a mandatory one. If you can watch it, because you're going to understand the strategy of the Global Partner Solutions Americas org at Microsoft by watching that session. And their newest VP is Nina Harding, and so she's going to be helping to lead that. I'll see if I can find the session code here and toss in the chat window while we're talking.
Yeah, the other big one, and there's a big crossover here, Matt. Maybe you can help explain it to everybody. But Power Platform, Power Apps and Power Platform really lives in the dynamic space, but there's such a crossover into modern work. I mean, even we're doing a lot of really cool stuff. You're doing a lot of stuff with Power Automate and Power Apps to make things easier for our employees. But I heard a lot about Power Plat this morning. I think I've got a couple of sessions in my backpack on Power Plat. So anything else on your side that you want to talk about Power Platform?
Yeah, there's quite a few sessions I added in my backpack on Power Platform. It's huge. So for everybody watching, if you do Teams, if you do voice, if you do Dynamics, look at the chat window here. I know we have some people watching that do Dynamics, security, whatever the workloads, Azure, whatever you're doing, there's going to be a play for Power Platform. And remember, Power Platform is Power BI, Power Automate, Power Apps. There's a huge play there. So when you think about kind of the future of where things are going, and you think about Copilot is going to be mixed into Power Automate and Power Apps. In fact, there's already been announcements around that. And in fact, I've been playing with it a little bit myself. And so when you think about how do you help your customers be more productive, how do you help them get more out of their data, how do you help them get more ROI out of their cloud investment, Power Platform is really it. And even at the Partner Masters, and we're still a young company, but we had to learn how to automate things really quickly. I think we're up to 8 employees now. We're growing very fast, tons of customers that we're working with. But we had to go out and use Power Automate to go out and automate a lot of our daily tasks that we do as a team. And so, even for us, that's been a huge ROI. So stay tuned to Inspire. I'm looking at my schedule right now. There's quite a few sessions out there for Power Platform. I really encourage everybody to take a look at because there's so much opportunity there. I mean, think about if you go in and you deliver services on Dynamics and you implement CRM, come back again and do Power Automate. Come back again and do things around Power BI. Same with security. Same with just if you're doing Microsoft 365 implementation, it's an excuse to go follow up that customer and give them even more value. So I get really excited about that, but that's a good one.
So Matt, the other thing, and I know we're running out of time here, maybe it's been my last comment, and then I'll throw it back to you. But Inspire is always a great time where Microsoft partners get together. We all get excited about seeing each other because we don't often get to see each other. And I know this is in a virtual environment, but make it extend itself. So I was looking through my backpack and saw some sessions with IAMCP, the International Association of Microsoft Channel Partners, where there's some of the folks who are part of the BCPA, the Black Channel Partner Alliance. I know there's other people who are presenting from Women in Cloud. So find that group that you can continue this journey with, because it's better to do it with friendly people, right? So don't make this just a one time a year. I get to see all these partners. Find a place where you can go be with other like-minded partners for the rest of the year that can help you get to this point next year as well.
Yeah, that's great advice. I think for me too, just dedicate the time. I know it's really hard to step away from business for a few days. And I know it's really hard to, try to focus on one thing instead of trying to multitask while you watch these sessions. I promise it's going to pay off. Try to dedicate some time this week. If you can't watch all of them, that's fine, but pick a few that you can shut off Teams, shut off email, and just watch and absorb. Like even this morning, there was so much content flying at us that I had to pause it and rewind a few times and take screenshots and take notes to make sure I capture it. So just do yourself a favor and set aside the dedicated time this week to, watch the content and really internalize and absorb it. Share with your team and so on and so forth. Yeah, Veronica has a great suggestion here. Join the Women in Technology group. Join the WIC group. Absolutely. Find that group, to Justin's point, that you can enjoy the experience together, and use that as a way to go build new relationships and drive your business, between now and the next Inspire. All right. Good stuff. Well, I wish we had more time to be able to talk about Inspire, but on Friday, Justin and I are getting back together. We're going to do a recap of Inspire. So we're going to share some information from some of the top sessions we watched and what that means, going into this next fiscal year and some of our analysis. So stay tuned for that. We'll put a link out on LinkedIn here shortly so you can sign up for that. Justin, any last words from you?
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. I look forward to, the other thing for me is listening to other people talk about via LinkedIn, Twitter, make sure you guys are sharing socially. We'll be doing the same thing. You've got our entire team who's going to be doing a lot of that stuff as well. So tune in to the Partner Masters via LinkedIn, Twitter, however you guys want to get your information. But yeah, looking forward to the wrap up on Friday. But feel free to reach out to us in between via the social platforms.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. Have a good evening, and we'll catch you on Friday.
All right. See you all.
See ya.